but a few people have basically said how awesome VoIP was in that game, and I just remember thinking about the 2 days I played Star Citizen, the all these people saying how great VoIP was in the cycle, and then like the week I played DayZ, like literally the second day I roll up on a guy, super nice to me, he holds me up, takes all my shit, and then like fast forward 20 minutes. And we've killed a guy, we've skinned him, and his skull is we've turned into a mask, and now we're like a skull cult, like, you know, whatever, and then we like part ways a few hours later, and it's like that was some like once in a lifetime shit, but like all the once in a lifetime shit is every 5 hours.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam, an Escape from Tarkov content creator.
I'm Veritas. I prepared, so I was going through your guys' comments.
God.
I was going through everybody's YouTube comments on the last few episodes, and I took some notes down. So I have a few apologies.
I'm so excited for this.
So, first off, I'm sorry for talking about Tarkov even when I don't play Tarkov. I'm sorry for complaining about Tarkov when I do play Tarkov. I'm sorry for if we're gonna talk about other shit, then we just shouldn't do the podcast at all. If I'm gonna talk about Tarkov, it can't be like negative in any way. It's got to be all positive. But also I can't like I'm not sorry, this is just a really big sheet of paper. I took a lot of notes. I'm not supposed to talk about anything about like bad about Battle State, but also I'm not supposed to defend Battle State because then I'm like I don't know, simping for Nikita. Let's see what else. Well, you know, we can go through the episode. I've got more and more to talk about,
dude.
But I'm really sincerely sorry to everybody in the comments. I'm gonna do better, and I think the only way that I could possibly make everyone happy is stapling my fucking mouth shut.
Dude, were they bad? I don't think I read a single comment from the last video. Were they really bad?
It was just like I was browsing them, and there was a bunch that were just like,
bro.
See, here's the thing. Last episode, I don't particularly remember being like so
super salty
negative or down about. It was mostly just like I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Here are the things I'm looking forward to. Here are the things I'm hoping for. But it was like, yeah, well,
Jesus Christ.
There were a bunch of comments that were basically saying like you should. It was funny. So it's like even though you are happy right now playing other games and you're taking a break from Tarkov, what you need to do actually is take a break from talking about Tarkov.
Yeah.
If you're gonna not play it, you can't talk about it. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
well.
It's like you've played 6,000 hours of Tarkov and you take 2 weeks off to play Magic and people are like, who are you to talk about Tarkov? Like, what? What the hell? Oh my God, bro.
I took a break from Tarkov, but I can't take a break from
the Tarkov community.
The Tarkov community. Contrary to what some of the comments say, there was actually one comment that was like, Veritas just hates the community and thinks that they're all shitheads. It's like, well, no, it's just like
just you.
Yeah, just like the 4 people who are saying dumb, salty shit.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It's mostly just like funny and interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, this is when they go, well, you're talking about it, dude. You sound salty.
It's for the memes, dude. It's so good. You pulled that thing, that scroll out, and I had no idea.
Oh my God, I've had that planned for like 3 days. Oh,
dude, that was perfect. I loved that. And yeah, what the screw you, all of you negative Nancys in the comments. Luckily, the positive ones get voted to the top. So when I was looking for the negative ones, I couldn't even find them because all the positive ones, if people upvote it, it kind of reorders them. And oh my God, that's super funny.
overwhelmingly positive. I just thought it was funny because it was like, anytime that anybody, and most of them, it's not necessarily that they're like being jerks. Some of them are trying to be constructive, but it's just so funny. It's like, okay, let's everybody step back for a second. I want to have a circle, and it's like, okay, all the people that are telling me what to do, I want you all to talk because you're telling me to do something, you're telling me not to do something. It's like, bro, I want to see them have a cage match and be like, what does Veritas do? Dude, fight.
That is that like what you just described is one of the most fundamentally like core beliefs that I hold right now in this era of time. And we can talk about it in the context of anything, Tarkov, politics, YouTube comments, whatever. It's that like so many people are only linked by like a mutual hate for one thing and nothing else, but they're convinced that they're linked by so much more. And it's exactly that. It's like everybody thinks they're on the same team if they like dumpster on you in the comments, but what they're all telling you to do is completely different things. And if everybody got together, they would all end up just arguing about what they think you should do. And so it's, oh my God, it's such a cluster.
It's politics. It's the same as politics, man. Like,
100%. And it's just, the authority with which people just like arrive into the comment section. You know what I mean?
I know what's best for you. Dude. I know what's best for you, Jesse. Let me tell you what's best for you.
We were rolling the other day on stream, dude. Somebody came in and was like, I'm struggling to make money. Like, Jesus, like, how do you get 50, 60 million rubles? And I was like, I
got a financial advisor. Dude.
Yeah. I was like, dude, oh, no. Here, this is it. He said, where do you go to do money runs? And I was like, I don't really do money runs. I was like, I play a lot. I've got the Bitcoin farm leveled up. I got a few really lucky finds. I found a blue key card this wipe. And at the end of the day, it's really just like surviving. Like if you prioritize survival over everything else, then you can make money on junk, cigarettes, bolts. You can make a bunch of money. And somebody came in and we were just rolling. He was like, you don't make 60 million rubles without money runs, bud. Trust me. And I was like, but I have 60 million rubles and I don't do money runs. And he was like, I don't believe you. And
go watch every hour of recorded content.
I was like, man, all I can really offer you is I think Twitch saves 2 weeks on my VODs. If you want to go, like, dude, the whole chat was just like, what? Like, none of us were mad. It was just so funny. Like, he, with so much authority, he came into my chat and told me how I made my money in Tarkov. Like, trust me, bro. I know what you do. And I was like,
you know how easy it is
so funny,
dude. It's so easy to and brainless to take the opposing side. Why the fuck are you so butthurt, dude? Why are you so butthurt? Why are you being so defensive if it's not true? If it's not true, then why? And then someone else, what? Dude, why are you focusing on this one guy?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you focusing on this one guy?
Just don't feed the trolls, man.
Wow, dude, you're kind of toxic, huh? Like, you're feeding the troll.
We were just laughing. It was just like, oh, man.
If you ignore him, you're a coward. If you call him out, you're a dickhead. If you make light of him, you're a pretentious dick, asshole, condescending jerk, whatever. You literally can't do anything.
Yeah. And if you try to follow their own logic to like show where the traps are, then you're splitting hairs and you're being, it's semantics and you're reaching too far. And it's like, all I'm doing is saying the exact words back to you.
And literally like what I just said was essentially what all those weeks of therapy have done for me, which is realize you're basically fucked no matter what you do. So you should just, which I knew that. I knew that I was fucked no matter what I did. And that made me like want to find the one way to succeed, which there isn't, spoiler alert. And it also like, it made me upset because I felt like I was like cornered. Where now after all of this like discussion and introspection and all that stuff, I realized like, no matter what I do, there's going to be some contingent of people that just won't like me and won't like it. So, and now that I realize that is inescapable and that's just normal, it's like, it no longer bothers me. So I'm just gonna do whatever it is I'm gonna do. If I feel like making light of somebody and calling them out and
100%.
focusing on them at the moment, I'll do it. If I feel like ignoring somebody, I'll do it. I'll do whatever the fuck
100%,
I feel like.
100%. 100%, because you just can't win. There's nothing you can do. And so winning is literally just exactly that. You just taking ownership of it. And it's like, this guy, I'm going to meme on him. This guy, I'm going to ignore him. And you make that choice and you know what's going to happen and you just like move on from it. Yeah, dude, 100%. 100%.
And think about all the people who are 3 paragraphs into writing a long comment, right to me right now on the YouTube video, that now have stopped typing and they've looked up at their screen and they're like, what's he going to say about me? Step away from the keyboard. Just because trust me, everybody's like, yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. You know, everybody that gives you advice is an idiot. So here's my advice.
Yeah.
Because I'm special. I'm the special one. Bro, I'm the reasonable one.
It's unreal. It's unreal. And then we get because it is such a lose-lose because of the nature of what we're doing. Like I was explaining this to somebody. Like every once in a while you get somebody and they're like pretty open. Like, you know what I mean? They'll walk it back. They weren't really aggressive. And it's like, I like talking with those people because they're like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean that. And I was just like, imagine, you're in a room and you're telling a story, your favorite story to tell. And it's a long story and you're in a room with 30 people. And a third of the way through the story, 10 people get up and leave and 10 new people come in. And then 60% of the stories, 10 of the original people get up and leave and 10 new people come in. And now you're in the home stretch trying to finish the story. And you have a group of people asking about the beginning because they got in right after the beginning. You got a group of people asking about the middle because they missed the whole thing. And you got a group of people that are annoyed you haven't just finished your story yet.
And all of those people's kids who are 9 and they're like hopped up on sugar and they're just dickheads.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, that would be super annoying. I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I signed up for this, but it's like, just take a few extra seconds before you hit enter on that message when you come in and you can tell we've been talking about something for a while. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm still trying to close up. I'm trying to land the plane for the people that were here 10 minutes ago when we started talking about something, and I can't do it when everybody, and it was so funny because that was exactly what the intro to the last podcast was, where the guy comes in and he was like, well, this is going to be dumb unless you get to keep your kappa. And I just like couldn't handle it because it was like, yeah, we talked about that. Oh, it's so.
Well, listen, if we don't change the subject, then all the comments are going to be,
when
did this become the Veritas bitch fest?
Why don't you talk about Tarkov anymore?
Yeah, let's talk about Tarkov. It's down.
Yeah,
and you know what?
What happened?
And you know what? There's nothing good or bad about that as a purely neutral fact.
Yes.
I have no good or bad opinion about Tarkov apparently being down. I didn't even know about it until I read your first bullet point.
Yeah, Tarkov's down. It's been down for, I don't even know, like, I saw that it was down like 4 or 5, so it's been down for a few hours now, 3-4 hours. Yeah, I don't know. They just said that they tweeted out something, people are having trouble getting in, and then I was just surprised. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like they haven't really released any information on what's going on. It's weird because it's not like, Christmas or a patch or a drops event or something. So it's just down. It's just down. So, yep. Tarky's down.
Well, you know what? That makes me down.
That makes me down. I was going to play Tarkov today, but if it starts down, I'm going to play some Star Citizen and my life will be fun. I will have fun. I will say, though, the past few days and weeks, Tarkov has been fun. It's kind of the same thing I talked about before, where it's like the fun has a threshold, and that is like, you know what I mean? It's like a if-then. If you have 2 or 3 good raids, then your next one will have an audio bug or major desync, because it's like we gotta kneecap you. We gotta keep you just a right amount of miserable. You know what I mean? So that's annoying to keep running into those things. But like, I was kind of contemplating like the dailies and weeklies have had, now that we've had them for like 2 or 3 full weeks, they've had a larger impact on my like fun playing the game than I originally thought. And it goes back to like, I think the dailies and weeklies they still need some love. They need balance around the quests, that there's mechanics that they can introduce that can make it better. All the feedback that we've given still holds. But it's like we've talked about before, it's like never underestimate how far people are willing to go for like a cosmetic. Like give us any goal and will do it. Similarly, I underestimated how much it affects everything else when I get a few good dailies and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's like a filter. It's like when you die a few raids in a row, there's like I died to some bull crap, but at least I didn't find the 1G phone and die with it. So let's gear back up. There's just like this one extra thing. And then when you find the thing you're looking for, you're like, yo, let's get out. It kind of brings that back. And so it's been fun. It's done exactly what I hoped it would do, which is like push me around maps. Like because without guidance, I get super, like I hit 42. Normally it's when I get Kappa, but because I haven't had Kappa yet, I hit 42 and I play Customs, Woods, Shoreline, Customs, Woods, Shoreline. That's it. The whole rest of the wipe, I'll do that. And the other day I spent 3 days in a row on only reserve or interchange for quests and like had great raids. And I was like, oh, I forgot these maps are fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, it's been helping for sure. More than I thought it would.
Yeah, I went and played. I played one raid yesterday, because actually yesterday was when the new set came out for Magic. But so they were down for a little bit and they were having some technical difficulties and stuff. Apparently that's a thing. Whenever they have a patch, it's like everything
really
fucking breaks for like 3 hours. Yeah, I guess I had to Google like I get this error and it was like 27 results from 2020, from 2019, from 2018. I've gotten this, it's like, apparently that's the thing. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well just install the patch, update the launcher, and see if Unity, how it feels. I did one raid with an RFB on customs, and I got like 8 scav kills, a PMC kill. Got out. Fairly uneventful. There was only one. So there were 2 things that were, I would say, noteworthy.
Mm-hmm.
One was I've literally said there were 2 things that were noteworthy, and in the time it took me to articulate the sentence, I forgot both things. What was I gonna say? Jesus. So I mean, I did experience the same kind of audio annoyingness in I was at
for sure.
The not construction, but the big
like fortress
fortress. I was at fortress, and just like even though it's all one big concrete box, with it's all wide open. When they're on the second floor, you can't hear anything. But yeah, so I did get a PMC kill. The fight went pretty well. I took a bunch of damage, but I ended up surviving, and there was nothing crazy with desync or nothing felt too weird. But I will say that the scavs are, I'm not sure exactly what they did just because I've done one raid, in weeks. But I will say that basically every time I was engaged with the scav, I was like, oh shit, a player. I killed them and looted them, was like, that was an AI. I think just because they run around randomly a lot more, whereas before they would only really like run if you like shot at them and they like, threw a grenade or something. But now it's like I walked into Fortress and I just heard running upstairs.
Yep.
And it was like, at no point previously would there be a scav, an AI scav running around upstairs. And I guess there's a small chance it was a player scav, but he had like exactly 2 magazines full for his pistol, nothing in his bag, nothing in his pockets, nothing in his rig.
No, they like, I don't know what they've been doing, but they have been doing it. It feels like whatever, all these like big sweeping changes that they made were like, there was the big patch where they made them run and they made them like check their mags and eat and drink. And then they made a patch where like they did something. It feels like whatever they've been doing recently is just like tightening the screws on all of that stuff. They haven't wildly changed their behavior, but I find myself and my friends and my chat and the people I play with be like, what is up with the scavs? And that it feels like all of the behaviors they gave them, they just like did a pass on making them feel more realistic. Because the scavs would run, but you could tell it would run, stop, the slide, and then it would check its chamber, and then it would just run again. And you're like, oh, that's a scav. But now they run for longer, and then they stop, and then they walk.
They're pathing. Honestly, I think it's more random.
Yeah.
I think it's less realistic and more random which I think makes it less predictable.
Yes.
Which accidentally makes it more realistic because, if any given person was in a building, you would have no idea where they would go, what their tendencies would be.
Yep.
They could do anything, go anywhere.
Yep.
So when you hear like pop, pop, pop from the second floor and you like walk in and then you hear running and then you look up the stairs and then you see it's clearly an AI because they're just like standing there, but then they turn and then they run and it's like, oh, and the way that I'm able to, I think, determine is that as soon as they see you, they instantly will yell something. I think that's like the surefire way. I mean, unless the meta is to start doing that now, hit F1 as soon as
I use that as a measurement of if that's a scav.
It seems pretty reliable because sometimes if they just run and you shoot them, if as soon as they kind of see you and then you shoot them and they yell something, it's like, yeah, it's pretty well likely that it's an AI.
Yep.
I was getting about 90 frames on customs, which is fairly normal for me. I'm running at 2K on like everything's ultra jacked up max settings. So, I mean, it's acceptable.
Yeah.
It wasn't stable. It was like 90, 70, 80, 90, 70, which again is not really a huge deal. If it dips down to like 40, 50 or below, that's when it starts to be like, whoa.
Really bad. They did the patch before the Unity 2019 patch. Ever since that patch, when I play Woods, because how like when you scope in with a Voodoo, you always get a frame cut no matter what map you are because it's double rendering the game. But like
I haven't had that in like a year and a half.
Really? Well, dude, for a while, I don't think I played Woods since the Unity 2019 update, so I wouldn't be able to tell. But for like a week, ever since that previous patch, if you're on Woods and you're facing the lumber mill and you ADS with a Voodoo, I'd go down to like 27 frames. And I've got a 3090, bro.
It's a lot to render, man.
Dude, it's like, but I play Woods all the time. So I noticed like they put a patch out and I was like, what happened to my frames? So I haven't gone back there, but I will say since the Unity 2019 update, it could totally be placebo, but I felt like I got like 5 to 10% more frames. Like when I was on reserve, I was peaking at like 100, 110 as opposed to like
small that I don't know that. Well, I mean, maybe it's noteworthy.
Maybe it just felt smoother, like I was staying at my average for longer without having dips. But it felt smoother, but it didn't feel like I had crazy frames. All day I was like, man, I feel like this just feels a little bit tighter. And then every time I would check, I would be like, yeah, I mean that's a little bit more than I normally get. So it was just like it just felt a little bit better, but maybe smoother of an experience, maybe less dips on maps like customs and reserve, and it just made it feel like. If my average is, 80, but I dip down to, 60 all the time, maybe I was just staying at 80 more often or whatever. I don't know. It just felt a little bit better, but I didn't expect it to be any better.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen 3 different responses from people that have either been on Twitter or coming into chat, which makes me think that nothing has changed. But basically, some folks said that their performance seemed like it was a little bit better, which, like, okay. Some folks have said it's objectively everything's worse. Unity broke everything, but at the same time, it's like, I'm sure they made. Well, I'm sure, but it's entirely possible that this patch wasn't just Unity. It probably came with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that Unity had nothing to do with it, and the other stuff is what led to the stuttering and whatever, people having frame drops and stuttering and stuff. Some people have said that there's no difference. I mean, I said from the beginning that I anticipated that it would be not even remotely close to seeing any significant impact at the beginning. It's the equivalent of changing all of the foundation and scaffolding of a home. Like you don't see it until you want to go put on an addition, and then it's going to be much easier to do that. And even Nikita said multiple times, like you're not going to notice, like what should we expect from it? It's like you shouldn't expect anything other than our development will hopefully improve in terms of speed and quality and the ability to do stuff and iterate. But everybody was like, I can't wait for Unity. It's gonna be game changing. It's like, are you not listening to like?
And it's hard because it's like it's understandable because they're excited about it because it's going to potentially open up a lot, better dev tools. They have alluded to things like, they asked nice guy asked on the podcast, like, hey, what's up with Steam Audio? And he was like, yeah, Unity 2019 has been a barrier there, and then, we ask about networking or desync, and they'll say, Unity 2019 will hopefully, and so like, he without saying like Unity 2019 is going to bring all sorts of these improvements. I feel like people just like they want to be excited about something because they want the game to be better. We can tell they're excited to get on Unity 2019 because it's better dev tools and they're their devs. And so I think a lot of that translates to like, and everybody's just so starved for news. Unity 2019, what is that? What am I going to get? But in fairness, Nikita has said every time he talks about Unity 2019, he was like, you do not expect anything immediately, any sort of increase. And I'd like that, especially because we just went through that. The analogy, I was like, Unity 2018, like when you move, the day you get to your brand new house with 3 extra bedrooms and a pool and a patio, you're not worried about any of that at all. You're worried, did I get everything here from there?
Yeah.
Did I lose anything in process? Did anything break on the way? Is the table that's all you're thinking about.
And there's always a few things that you forget and a few things that you break, and it takes, you got to go to Target and pick up a couple things.
Exactly. Or you left something behind intentionally. And I was like, that's the analogy. I was like, today, chat, the win is if nothing major is broken. That's a perfect, flawless 10 out of 10 S tier execution of this job. If nothing major is broken and all the little things were either intentional or stuff that we can just run to Target and get. And then over the next few months, you get settled in and you go, oh, what do we want to do with this bedroom? What do we want to do out here? And that's what they're going to do. They're going to be like, okay, now we have a little bit of time. Let's mess with these new tools. What is this going to allow us to do? Is this going to make us be able to do something new or do something old faster? So I was like, let's just that's it. That's all we're doing. We're just moving today, okay? Like
So based on what you just said, think about, based on what you said, my limited experience with the patch, literally one fucking raid.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that I've seen from everybody, all the different sources kind of averaged out. You pointed out that, the goal is to essentially have it be there's no difference. I would say that on average, seems like not a whole lot's changed. Some people are saying performance is good. Some people are saying it's shit. Some people are saying it's good. It's fine.
Yeah.
It all averages out to what Tarkov's always been. So that kind of makes me think like maybe this was a successful.
I think so. I think at the end of the day,
to me like major success.
At the end of the day, that's what I felt. My personal experience was I experienced a few bugs. Like there were a few tiny little audio bugs, and but there were a few tiny little audio bugs, and I felt like the performance was really good, maybe a little bit better. And I was like, this all kind of evens out. Like, there's nothing crazy. Like, I was trying to be like, this is really good. Like, they didn't warn us about this weeks in advance. They didn't the game was only down for a few hours. Like, they migrated engines just like they gave us 8 hours notice. That was it. I was like, The last time, like we were talking about Unity 2018 for months, and it came with patch 0.12, which also came with patch 0.12 came with the hideout, which was broken for 8 hours after it came out. You couldn't enter the hideout for 8 hours after the patch. It came with reserve, which reserve, you remember the first 2 weeks of reserve, it was like if you had 13 frames, you were on a God PC. You know what I mean? And so this was just so much better in the sense that they were, I don't know. I guess I'm saying this was executed perfectly. What more could we have expected? We literally, the last time they did this, it was a cluster because they added new features and a new map and a new engine. We were just 4 days ago staring down the barrel of patch 12.12, which was set to include new features such as VoIP and inertia, a new map, Lighthouse, and a new engine. And they were like, oh, let's get it out. They made the migration. Nothing major broke. The Reddits weren't filling up with it was a few tiny bugs and a lot of people saying they were getting slightly better performance. And the game was totally playable. Now, I don't know why it's down right now, but I was like, nobody's really talking about how this is a God tier execution. We just moved houses and nobody really noticed. And that's
welcome to software development and a million other things. When
it goes well, nobody knows. And when it goes bad, everybody knows.
That's the engineering struggle.
Yeah.
You don't get to show up to the fucking monthly review from engineering and all the CEOs and everything and be like, we just improved our code base and made it 37% more efficient. We added unit tests and our continuous integration, and everybody's like, but how many downloads did we get?
Yeah.
Like, how many? It's like, that's not the fucking point, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
So I was really excited about it. I don't know how much of, like you were saying, the like either side, like some people were saying worse performance, some people were saying better performance. Like I don't know how much of that is just like how optimized any given thing is for every single piece of hardware out there, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like Unity 2019 might be a little bit less optimized for certain machines or older machines or older parts. And it's like, it's so hard to come up with apples to apples comparisons when, you know, a computer today can be built with like any number of 16 parts that could be anywhere between 8 and 10 to 2 months old. You know what I mean? So it's so hard when they do something like this and I get a few extra frames and you feel like nothing's different and he feels like he's getting no frames. It's like, I don't even know if anything's broken. It's just hard to tell when there's so much different hardware out there. You know what I mean? So overall, man, I felt like the migration went really well. I don't know what else we could have asked for, you know?
For sure. So, I mean, I guess we'll see. Hopefully shit like starts going like 6 months from now. If nothing comes from it, it's like, well, then what was all that work for?
That is what's hard, is that like it's super exciting that they did this and they did it so well. But what is hard about it is that we won't know if it worked, you know what I mean, for like months. You know what I mean? And even then we probably won't ever know, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. But
I want to check if they're saying anything on Twitter.
Yeah, I literally just opened Twitter to see if there was an update from them. It was several hours ago that they were like, the game is down. And it was weird because it was
3 hours ago. They said maybe facing network traffic issues. So it could be like a networking thing as opposed to like a game client thing.
Yeah. Because if it was related to Unity, the Unity patch has been up for 3 days. You know what I mean? 2-3 days, and it worked really well. So I don't feel like that just broke anything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't know. Yeah, it feels good. I'm excited. I think I am really excited that they got it out before the big patch, because this is the thing that gives us the least amount of like immediate stuff for the gamer, but it paves I'm assuming it paves the way for a smoother 12.12 launch. If the game has been running on Unity 2019 and they maybe fix all these tiny little bugs and then push out 12.12, like I feel like that's going to be a smoother process as opposed to doing it all on one, which is what they did with 12.0. You know what I mean? So hopefully,
yeah, we'll see. And I guess it's like not even it's kind of a good time for all this to be happening too. I feel like just because there's a bunch of
there's so much going on.
Yeah, a ton going on. There's Battlefield. Now, what was the deal? Did it just like come out? I don't even know like what the deal is. Did it release? Is it like the open beta? Is it like what's the deal?
If you spent $100 on the game, you get it a week early, and that's what happened today. I hate it so much.
Do I have it? Do I have it? I was watching. I watched Pestily had a video.
Yeah.
And I was curious to see what it was, and it looked like he did like the hazard zone. And honestly, it was my take from it was, so I'll just describe what I saw because I don't know anything about anything. I literally have like access to like the behind the scenes NDA videos, PDFs, all that stuff straight from the developers, like from over the last few months, and like I can't be fucking bothered to watch it because I don't know, because I just feel like whenever I go through that stuff, I never know what it's going to be like until I just watch someone play it or play it myself. So it looked like they like spawned in. It was a giant, wide open, like it looked like Hoth from Star Wars. It was all snowy, Arctic,
the snow map,
with hills and everything, and it was really cool terrain. It was just nice because it's like really natural way of like natural as opposed to artificial, where it's like there's a building with 3 boxes and then like a box over here so that you can like it was just less about we're gonna make this for a shooter and more a little bit more, so you can get up on a hill, but then also like wrap around the hill and then go down, and then like there's just all kinds of craggy things, so like you can always kind of get low into a little ditch, even if you're out in the open. It's still like you have some sort of cover.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It just looked like there was him and two other guys running around, getting in like long range fights with the occasional, all of a sudden it's like someone's coming up on us because they might be on like a mountain ridge.
Yeah.
And they're like sniping across the mountain ridge, and then all of a sudden it's like there's people behind us like coming up around the hills. So there was just a bunch of fights. All the gunplay looked really nice. And then it looked like there were a bunch of like pods around where they collect the drives, whatever the fuck that is.
Yep.
It seems like the goal is to just go in, collect the drives, and get out.
Yeah. And
there's like multiple extractions. There was like extraction A, but they're like, we have a minute and we're not going to make it. It's like all the way across, so we're gonna have to wait until like extraction B.
Yep.
And they got in a bunch of fights. It looked like you could get downed and your teammates could go over to you, and it was like 1,000 with the defibrillator, like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, boom, you're up.
Yep.
And it looked like you could kind of crawl a little bit, and you could also move a little bit while you were, which is nice because I hate games where it's like, I'm healing you, standing out in the open.
Yeah.
As soon as I press anything else, the healing gets reset, I don't know what happens when you get, just because I'm pretty sure he like edited a bunch of stuff out. I don't know what happens if you get killed, like finished, while you're down. It looked like maybe you would like potentially respawn in.
So you get the drives out, and for depending on, kind of similar to how Tarkov Experience works, depending on how many kills you got, if you survived or not, and then how many drives you get out, you get a special currency that's only for this hazard zone. If you choose to do so, you can purchase with that currency before you go into your next raid a redeploy beacon. And if your teammate goes full down, you can redeploy them and they can come back in. If they have all been used, or if your team doesn't have any, when you go full down, you're just done for that raid.
Could you have now, do you spectate? Do you know? Like,
I don't know. I didn't watch anybody that was full down. I don't know if you can spectate.
Interesting. So I'd want to know there if you could, if you can spectate, or if you just like fucking, if it's like Tarkov where you just dick around on your phone until your boys get out. And I also wonder, like, if you have like a crazy good success rate and you're like rich, does that mean you could just infinitely respawn, or is there like a limit?
I think it's like you have like 2 or 3 equipment slots, and you can only put one in, like one respawn thing in, and like one armor thing in. Like you can't stack it with like 3 different respawn things, I believe.
That's pretty neat. And it looked like the time to kill looked pretty good in where, like, if you hit somebody with a sniper headshot, from 150 meters away, which, like, it seemed like it took some skill because there definitely was obvious bullet drop. Like with Tarkov, the bullet drop is totally negligible, and also it just I just feel like you don't ever get a sense of the trajectory of the bullet.
Yeah.
You shoot and then you like see maybe where the bullet hole is gonna be.
Yeah.
But in this one, I feel like it's almost like every bullet's a tracer.
Yes, basically.
You can kind of feel like so it seemed like it was just the right amount of, it didn't feel like you were like lobbing water balloons.
Yeah.
Like I've played, when I played the alpha or beta or whatever it was, sniping was just like,
it was so bad. Yeah.
It felt like a trebuchet.
Like 45-degree angles. Yeah.
It was goofy as hell. And also it was like, you would lob it, and if you managed to like hit somebody, it was like hit marker. You're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, I'm not gonna hit 4 of those.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it looked like like Pestley was hitting a bunch of like wicked long headshots, and people were going down in one, and then it's like they kind of go on their back, and then they kind of crawl over onto their hands and knees, and it's a little clunky, the animation, but it's and then they're like crawling to cover, and you get a few more times to like try and pop off shots while they're crawling behind cover. I really like that, the kind of give and take around, like, do I go and get my guy up? You know, it just adds a whole other element to it where, just that whole dynamic of people are coming from everywhere. The times it kills seem like, and I haven't played it yet, but it seemed like it was a pretty decent place where, where it was reasonable. It wasn't super fast. It wasn't super long. If you pull out a pistol, you might hit somebody 4 or 5 times and then have to like reload, but they're not going to be dead yet
Yeah.
But then like once you peak them, within the next 10 seconds or something, then another 4 or 5 shots will probably take them down. So that was good. There was one other thing. Oh, the just being able to do markers.
Oh yeah,
is such a nice
and
thing
have
to be
it
able.
ping distance. It would ping the marker, and it would just say 171, and it's like that's how many meters. And I was like, oh, that's sick.
Like Insurgency, it seemed like there was some automatic voice comms that contextual voice comms. So like there was one period where the guy's like, contact to the west, and Pestily was like, is there someone to our left? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, well, your character just said like contact, and he's like, oh, I don't know, something. And all of a sudden you see guys to the left.
Yeah.
So, and then he pinged, and the guy was like, his guy on the radio, you could hear like his voice being like, an enemy 142 meters, and it's like, oh shit, because then I don't know if there's zeroing,
so
but then
sick.
you could instantly go in and either use the mil dots or whatever to. It still takes skill.
Yes.
To be able to take that information, translate that into like where I need to aim using the mil dots or using zeroing, and then have the physical ability to actually put the crosshair where it needs to go.
Yep.
I like it a lot. So I just don't know if that gameplay loop, where the fuck does it go? Do you just go and collect drives and you get respawn tokens,
thing.
and then what the fuck do you do?
That's what I'm worried about is like, I was watching a little bit of it. I was watching Deadly play it. I was watching Landmark play it, and Will, and it definitely looks cool. I think I don't think any Battlefield material ever came out and said that it was like a Tarkov-like game, but I think that mode got shot in the foot by whoever started it, being like, Battlefield's making a Tarkov game, because it is absolutely nothing like Tarkov. You know what I mean? Like
but dude, there's extractions.
It's
rather than a timer running out and the game fades to black, you actually have to go out the exit door.
Exactly. It's like Battle Royale Plus. And I was watching Pesley's video on this, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, it's good, but you can't hold it to that standard, because then it's like, then everything, if you're holding everything through, well, is this Tarkov? Then everything either falls short or is different. But like the gameplay loop seemed really fun for all those reasons you said. Like it felt good. It felt squad play. It felt cool to be in an open map. The map design is really cool. The weapons are cool. The TTK seemed cool. But then I had that same question. I was like, what happens when you go on a 7 or 8 raid winning streak? As far as I can tell, you can't really, like, you're buying the guns, I think, but it's not like the difference between buying a Mark 18 in Tarkov and buying a PP19.
It's just a
like,
loadout.
Yeah, it's just the guns. You know what I mean? It's like the same 10 guns. So I was wondering that too. Like, what's the it after watching today? I also watched a bunch of people just playing the Conquest. It's still the mode I'm most excited for. I watched Deadly play like the regular all-out warfare for like 2 hours, and I was like, I do not want to play this. I did not have fun playing it in the beta, really. And I don't really care. So after
it's Battlefield.
Exactly.
Every Battlefield that's ever been, a massive map with 800 fucking dudes.
Dude, and you have two
Everybody
options.
running around doing their own
You spawn
thing.
on a hot drop and die immediately and do that over and over again. Or you spawn at the next thing, which is 8 miles away, and you run in and you die when you get there. And it's like, so this definitely, after watching Pestil's videos and watching Deadly play it, I was like, okay, this looks fun. But I was wondering the same thing. What's the progression? What do you do with all this cash you get? I don't know.
According to Pestily, who just came in and commented, I quote, "It has 0 progression. It's boring after 2 hours." He said, after 2 successful extracts, you've got more points than you can spend in the next 10 games.
What?
So I don't know if
yeah, I didn't know how much things cost either.
I don't know if they're planning on like modifying that in some way. Like if this is like,
yeah.
You know, like how Tarkov back in the day had like 3 quests and like 2 maps.
Yeah.
And they're planning on building and iterating, maybe, right? But if that's just the game and they're gonna add more maps or something over the time, it's like,
because
I don't know, there's no sorts of progression or
I'm pretty sure you can, when you kill somebody, just like in regular Battlefield, I'm pretty sure you can pick up that person's gun. So I wish it was almost like either like a little bit more like the cycle, a little bit more like Tarkov. What if it was like the only thing you get for free is a pistol? And like, so like the first few days of the cycle, everybody had the worst gun, everybody, because it's all anybody could afford. But then I came back and played it 2 weeks later, and now some of the player base has played a lot and has good stuff, and some of them haven't, and some of them are medium. So if you're like, I got no money, and you get a good kill on somebody with a dope bolty, now you just get to pick up that bolty. It'd be cool if like the guns cost more and you started with less for free, and then whatever you had on you when you extracted, you got to bring into the next raid for free. So there doesn't have to be an inventory system, but whatever I had on me, I just start the next one. Because then there's like this, you can almost do like 0 to hero runs where it's like I'm going in with a pistol.
Hardcore Tarkov?
I mean, kind of, a little bit. It would just, my theory crafting here is like we have to make that currency mean something. We have to make it valuable. And if that's true, where if you do two successful raids and you're just set for the next day of playing, then it just doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah, then it's like, why do I get the drives? Then it's just like deathmatch.
Yeah, just PvP. Why get the drives? Because you even get currency for PvPing and extracting. So why get the drives? Like, yeah, I don't know. Now, I haven't played it for sure. I haven't played it. And like I said, it's still probably the thing I'm looking forward to playing the most in Battlefield. But I don't know. I hate the whole freaking, you can buy the game for $60. But for $40 more, you can play it a week earlier with all your friends and all the content creators. And it was just like, I don't know, it's so scummy, man. I hate it. So I'm not buying it. I'm not paying the extra money. I'll play it next week.
Yeah, I guess.
And the real tell is that how many people are going to be playing it next week, and that'll be the real tell. It'll just suck for the people that, if nobody's playing it next week and it is dead for the most part, then it just sucks for everybody. You know what I mean? Who spent $60 on the game and not 100.
It's so funny that I went from having literally zero interest in having it just be like, I'll see if when people respond to it when it first comes out, if it's any good, and then maybe that having no interest to then I saw Pestely's video and I'm like, you know, this actually looks pretty dope. To then seeing Pestely's comment being like, nah, it gets fucking boring. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm not even gonna buy it. Like I was in the process of like logging into my account to figure out,
really,
like, did I buy this? I forget if I bought it, if I had it, and now I'm just like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. I think it got shot in the foot by being called a Tarkov, you know, comparable thing. It's more like, I don't know if you ever played Scavengers, but Scavengers was basically a really unique take on Scavengers was a game where you went in and it was PvP, VE, and you gathered resources and you extracted with those resources. And the final extraction was the only extraction on the map. So it was like, because that's how Hazard Zone is. It's more battle royale where the last extraction is the only extraction. So you
know what? It seems way more like a BR.
Yes. You will meet everybody. It's just without a circle. But the circle this is the only extraction. So, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not a circle closing, but if you don't get to that extraction, if you're on the other side of the map, you die and it doesn't matter anyway.
A metaphorical
circle. A metaphorical circle, exactly. And Scavengers was like that.
If you think about it, isn't that just life?
Is it just a metaphorical circle? We're all just trying to extract with as many drives as we can. But I liked Scavengers. I thought it had a lot of problems and it wasn't fully fleshed out, but I was like, man, this concept is really cool. And this is basically what Warzone is, or Hazard Zone. It's like Battlefield's take on that, but everybody was like, oh, it's Tarkov. And then everybody's just got this weird taste in their mouth now. I don't know. But it looks coolish. It looks coolish. I don't know. Meh. I was really hoping that I would like Battlefield, like the all-out warfare, the conquest, you know what I mean? Because I miss having more arcadey shooters, you know what I mean? I'm not going in there, you know, wanting all of the crazy Tarkov stuff. And I just really wanted to like it, man. And I played the beta and I just like could not. Like the most fun was just riffing on how buggy it was with my friends, like that was the fun I had in Battlefield, not the playing. And I was like, that was a beta. Let's go. Maybe they fixed it up. And I watched Deadly Dude for like hours today. And I was just like, I don't want to play this. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know. It's just not for me. That's not saying that's not to say it is de facto a bad game. It is just not what I am looking for. 100%. Paddle your own canoe. It's just not what I'm looking for. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. But yeah, you're doing some Magic. You were drafting. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the way that the drafts
like
work,
fantasy football, but like in
yeah, I mean kind of
like actual fantasy.
Oh, with a capital F. Oh my god, I'm speechless. Someone must have said that at some point. Wow, that's genius. I'm gonna have to use that. I'm stealing that. TM. Yeah, so, and this is what I did when I first got into Magic, back when I was at a software startup, and a bunch of the other nerds I worked with all played Magic. And it was like one Friday, one of the guys came in with a big box that had the booster, like a sealed box that normally they'll like put it up on the counter, crack it open, and you like pick out individual packs, from it.
Yep.
But he bought, one of those big boxes, and they're like, all right, we're teaching everybody Magic. We're doing like a sealed event. And so basically the way it works is they just take all the packs out, and everybody gets handed 3 or 4 packs. It depends on what the format is.
Yeah.
But literally what you do is you open the pack up. When you do just a normal draft, you look at all the cards, and you pick one card from it, and that's yours. And then you pass the deck either to the left or to the right. So you are one at a time choosing cards, and after 3 decks go around, usually, you'll pass it to your left, you pass it to your right. If you get like a really good red card, then like the next pack that comes around, if you get like another really good red, you're like, okay, it looks like I might be building like a red deck, but you might get like a really good red card, and then everyone after that is like different colors. So you just, but you get to keep all the cards afterwards. And then depending on how many wins you get, it's usually like a double or triple elimination kind of thing. Whoever like wins usually gets like 6 packs from the rest of the box, and then like second place gets 4 packs, and then so you get to keep all your cards plus, usually a prize at the end based on how much you won. So it's fun because a lot of what it comes down to is you might be, choosing all of the red and black cards, and there might be like an amazing green card that like, I want this for my collection. Like, I'm not going to use it.
But I know I get to take this home tonight, so.
Yeah. Or you might know, like, I feel like, somebody here is building like a green-white deck, and this card would be perfect, so I'm going to make sure that they can't play against me with it.
Yeah.
Hate draft. So, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And a new set came out, so there's, like 1,000 new cards, and all of them have all these different mechanics. And so it's like I've just been drafting because what it does is you get experience with all these different cards. You get to keep the cards that you draft, figure out like what's good, and it's just a lot of fun because it's less, not like scripted, but like when you play competitive constructed, it's a 60 card deck, and it's all like meta. Like you're gonna face people who have like, I've got 4 copies of 4 is the maximum per individual card. It's like I've got 4 of these and these, 4 of these and these, and it's like you face the same 4 decks over and over and over again.
For sure.
And it gets a little bit boring, but it's also a lot of fun to play those types of things. But then when you draft, you have a 40 card deck, and it's kind of like a little bit janky. Everybody's kind of like, it's like a race between a bunch of rusty old cards that you put together from like scrap. It's
like a pickup game of basketball. It's just like, who's around, who's like, you know what I mean? It's like, we're not. It's just whatever. That's cool. That's cool. That
and sometimes one card will carry you through the whole thing, because like you don't get to choose the cards you have. So sometimes there's like different types of cards that it's like, if you put an artifact down, you can't like kill it because it's not a creature. So unless you have like a destroy artifact card, it's like there's nothing you can do. So sometimes in that limited capacity, if you get a card that's like every turn spawn like 4 dudes, normally when you're playing constructed, it's like they know I have to get rid of that right away. But if you're playing limited, it's like you can get out of control, with some pretty crazy funny shit. I literally had I have a clip. I killed a dude in one turn. So you start with 20 health. Both of you guys start with 20 health. Okay. And he went from 19 health, and I had like 9 health. And it was like he had like 5 dudes on the board. I had 5 dudes on the board, and I'm just like looking, and I had 4 mana to spend, which is like usually you have on like turn 4. Usually it's like, you know, a 1 cost creature is like a 1/1 little tiny weenie guy, and it costs 1. So I had 4, which is pretty, you know, sometimes you have 15 or, you know, whatever mana to spend. And with 4 mana, literally I killed him in 1 turn. It was like, cast this spell, which does this and takes all of his guys, and then steal this guy. And it was like
just
the most
complete
epic
flip.
Dude, it was like, imagine you're playing chess and it's like turn 1, like pawn forward. He puts his pawn forward. Turn 2, you do this, and all of a sudden it's like checkmate. And you're like, what the fuck? Like that's cool. What it felt like. I just felt like a god. But yeah. And then other times you build a deck and it's like you instantly lose 3 in a row. You get no wins, and it's like, well,
guess I'll just take my cards and go home.
You gotta pay. I mean, you can use like, because Magic the Gathering Arena has like different currency. There's like gems and coins. And naturally, like if you want to buy 18,000 gems, it's $100. Now you can get, it's 1,500 gems to draft. So for $100, that's 12. 12.
Which you would
drafts.
have to buy them in real life too, right? Like if the physical card game, you'd have to go.
Yeah, I forget how much it costs, but it's usually like kind of covers the packs and like the fee, you know, like the whoever's hosting it. But yeah, I mean, you have to pay.
Yeah.
But you get to keep the cards and stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's pretty funny how
cool.
You know, like you can go through $100 pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun, and there's been a lot of people. Dude, there's a crossover between Tarkov and Magic for sure. I mean, Magic is like one of the fucking oldest games.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, it's been around for a while, right?
It's from Wizards of the Coast. It like literally the people who made Dungeons and Dragons are the ones who own Magic.
Okay. There we go.
And you know, it's so like 30 years it's been around.
That's really cool.
And but there's a lot of people in the Magic community that play. Actually, so much so that if you're listening to this and you're ever interested, if you come into my chat and do !EFTMTG, I think I showed you some.
Yeah, you did.
I mocked up. I mean, they look basically like legit.
Yeah,
like if you didn't know, you wouldn't know any better. But it's basically Tarkov Magic cards. So like fucking the Therapist is a Planeswalker, and Prapor, like a bunch of the traders. Oh no, I blacked you out there. All of the like a bunch of the traders are Planeswalkers. Nikita is a Planeswalker. Which are like the most powerful like entities in the game. And then I have a bunch of spells that are all like memes. You know, one
dude, they were funny.
Flashbang and lag and you know, false ban, and yeah, I just tried to incorporate a bunch of the lore from Tarkov and memes and stuff with the actual like design of Magic cards.
Yeah. And
I sent him to Nikita. He never played Magic, but he got a kick out of them. So
those were hilarious. Like I never played Magic either, but talking with you enough, and I've been like lurking while you play. I was like, yo, those actually, they look like cards. They look like straight up cards you could just buy.
Yeah, I mean, all of the, there's a couple typos here and there that I'm gonna iron out.
Yeah.
But at some point I might actually print these out. And Nikita said if I printed out a bunch of cards and sent them to him, he'd consider signing them. And then I don't know, maybe we'll do a charity thing or a giveaway or something like that. But imagine having a signed foil Nikita Planeswalker Magic card. Like it's such a random. I would fucking frame it and put it on the wall. You know
dude.
What I mean? That would be so dope.
That'd be really cool. That's pretty dope.
Anyway, now that all the Tarkov people have fast forwarded 30 seconds through the podcast.
Oh yeah.
We're, not talking about Magic anymore, but.
Hey man, I mean my kick has been Star Citizen recently. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, I really have been fun playing Tarkov, and I'm really excited for what we have in the next year. But my kick has been Star Citizen recently. They put out a huge patch. They got some big stuff coming, and
I went back and watched the video of me playing, which was a complete and utter. I mean, playing quote unquote,
so
but
good.
Just like, and I was like, holy shit, this was 2 years ago, and I'm still looking at it going, these are the best video game graphics I've ever seen. It was 2 years ago.
Ever, dude, and it's just gotten better, bro. Like the fidelity is just insane. The screenshots. Okay, so you would appreciate this. like I know you know this, but like you can disconnect the camera and then move it around. You know what I mean? Like, and you can do you can like push the camera towards you, farther away, up, down, and then you can manipulate it 360 degree around your person or your ship, and then you can even pull focus. Oh my God! As someone who was a videographer,
Wait, is that new?
No, the ability to pull focus has always been there. It's just like a weird bind, but like you can decrease the make the background blurry and you're in focus and all that stuff. Anyways, as somebody who spent like 3 years as a videographer, like we were playing, and me and Silverbag, we just spent 2 hours on a moon. He got into the he piloted my ship and he took off with it. And I had weapons, and as I was on this moon, it was cold. Throughout the 2 hours, my armor is slowly growing frost all over it, and I've got weapons on, and all we're doing is like, okay, run it again. And I'm like running, and I have the camera facing at me, so I've swung it around and it's facing me, and so you see the ship coming over my shoulder, and I just try and get these shots where I keep running, but I keep the ship in frame, and I whip the camera around as it whips over me. And he was doing passes where he was shooting and like stuff was exploding, and then like, dude, and I was like, I could do this forever. Like, there's so many ships, there's so many armors, there's so much stuff. You can set up stuff where you're like shooting your friends, and like that's all just like created content that wasn't missions or anything. But in this new patch, they're adding so many more like FPS missions and like healing gameplay, and just like the loot. Now you lose all your stuff when you die, and you can loot other players and NPCs. So like Deadly started this, and we were kind of dabbling in it a little bit too, almost like a hardcore Star Citizen run. Deadly bought a new Star Citizen account with no ships because he had like accumulated a bunch of other ships from like referrals, and he spent a little bit of money upgrading his ship, the starter ship, and he was doing like hardcore Star Citizen where he wasn't allowed to buy anything. He went to a cave and he like beat somebody up and then took their armor and took his gun, and then was selling stuff and renting ships and doing missions and then getting more money so that you could rent bigger ships. And bro, it's just,
yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a try again. It's the funny thing is that like for some reason I'm always drawn to, when I see the game, I'm like, I want to play, but I don't want to do anything the game wants me to do.
That's
like
fine.
When I don't want to do missions, talk to NPCs. I don't even want to shoot. I just want to fucking fly around and like talk to people and experience. Like, I spent, I don't know what, like 2 days playing the game, and most of the time was spent with like the selfie cam.
Yep.
With the VoIP. And crawling around like a schmeagle, like a fucking creeper, But it was just like, it felt like a weird fever dream movie. Yeah. And then the one time I was messing around like with a dude, and then all of a sudden, I was in a ship with a guy. Again, this is like 2 days of just memeing around. I didn't even know the controls, and I got in like so many wacky, like memorable moments. Like, I'll never forget. I'm with this dude who I'm like, "Are you an NPC?" Like, he's like, "Hello." I'm like, "You sound like a fucking NPC." I'm like, I genuinely cannot tell because I'm so new to the game if you're an NPC or not. And he's like, "You sound like an NPC." I was like, "Okay, well now I know his name." But I like followed him, like, "Yo, can I come with you?" He's like, "Sure." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I get in his ship, dude. He takes off. I'm like, "Dude!" And he hits like someone told me that like hit J, and like the ship was like and like transformed into like fucking Boba Fett's like.
Oh,
dude.
I know exactly what ship you're talking about.
And then we're flying into like sort of into the atmosphere of a place that kind of looks a little bit like Mars. And then all of a sudden, he like opens up the back hatch, and I see it. He just like jumps out the hatch. I'm like, I don't know how to get out of the seat to get into that seat so I can fly.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I get in, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like messing around with buttons. I don't know how to fly. I hit a button, and all of a sudden I just start standing up, which is like you're kind of locked into an animation.
Yeah.
And then the ship just goes and just starts diving. And literally I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's like, it could not have been more perfect to where I finally managed to get back in the chair, and it was like, pull up. And I'm like,
the classic,
like, beep,
pull
beep,
up.
Beep, 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 and I'm going towards a mountain, dude, and I just barely missed the mountain. It was the sickest thing ever, dude. And it was like, I'm sure that I had tapped into 0.0001% of the game. I don't know what a mission is. I think I shot at like one AI once with a gun that some guy gave me, but like.
So you know what's funny? You know what's fun about Star Citizen versus Tarkov is that they both are so lacking for the opposite reason. Tarkov, all it is like stuff that the game hands you to do, and when you do all that, you're like, I have nothing. There's nothing left. There's nothing satisfying. And we're like, we want VoIP, we want open world so we can create those moments in Tarkov, right? The like clutch 1 in a million moment in Tarkov. That's what we want. That's all we want. Star Citizen is the exact opposite. All it is are these crazy 1 in a million, this is never going to happen again insanity. But then when you're like, you know what? I'm going to grind some stuff. You're like, what the hell do I do? Where do I go? Are you an NPC? Are you a mission giver? I don't know. And that's it. So you get the complete opposite experience. If you're new to the game and you just ask people to fly in their ships, what that does in them is they go, oh, you're new. Let me show you the $9,000 ship I have. Like every time, if you're like, yo, can I get a ride? They'll call the biggest, most unnecessary ship in the game just to show it to you because they're so proud of it. And like, it's always moments like that, dude. Last night we were playing and we were like, I don't know how we found this bug. We were initializing our hyperdrive and I was up in the top turret of the ship and I got out of the turret and the turret gets up and as I'm coming down from the turret, the entire spaceship just explodes around me. Everyone in it dies. I am untouched, but I am now floating in space. Like I look to my left and there's a space station 30 kilometers away and I look to my right and there's a planet and I'm just floating.
Do you
in
have
space.
like do you have any sort of propellant?
Yes, you go.
Like if you have a fucking yeah,
for like an hour, dude. And I made it like 1% of the way to the space station, and Seal like spawned on the other side of the universe and got his ship. And somebody else from chat literally like just pulled up at me, and I just like got into their ship, and he just picked me up, and I never died. And we like, it was so sick.
Dude, that's so fucking rad, dude, man. I gotta give it a try.
One of the new things is there's a tractor beam now attachment. And so like me and Seal went and you just like park your ships and you can create like obstacle courses where you tractor beam and you take a bunch of speed and then you let it go and you just zip by the ship and you can like chain things and like just zip around in 0G with the tractor beam. You can tractor beam to like other people. You can like drag people. Dude, there's this like mission where you have to collect a bunch of boxes and I was picking them up with the tractor beam and just throwing him at Seal and I almost killed him. Like it like just knocks you over. Dude, it's just... It's a game where like the number one question you get asked when you're streaming, it is like, what the hell do you even do in this game? And the answer is, that's the point. Whatever the hell you want to do. Oh man, and it's just like, it's just fun. It's not enough. You know what I mean? It's not enough. It wouldn't be my main game. It's not enough right now, but like, man, is it just fun? And it's just like, Star Citizen is potential, the video game. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You look at the graphics and these spaceships and all these like things, but then when you're like, all right, let's grind it, you're always left like kind of unsatisfied because you're like, what the hell is there to do? But to pop in every once in a while, dude, it is just a blast. It's just memes. And because you're not taking it seriously, the bugs are funny. They're like, the bugs are sometimes the best part of your night. Like,
dude, did you see the video, the fucking original dad, the video that I made?
Yes, dude. Yeah.
It was a 2-part video. It's funny, you know, it's like 40% downvotes or whatever. It's like, this is fucking, this is content.
Yeah.
But there was like a period of time where like my ship like crashed into the ground, but like all of the cloud textures were all fucked up, and then all of a sudden, I was like, all you could see was. It was as if I was lying down on the ground with the camera, like you know the scene from Blair Witch Project at the end where they drop the camera and you just see like the person.
Yeah.
It was like that where you just all you saw was like the side of my head, like looking up all like these glitchy clouds in like a red Mars sky, were just like it was all windy. And then I like instantly was like went into improv mode. I didn't have my camera on obviously because you know I was trying to like immersive whatever, and I like instantly turned on like the reverb. Yeah. And it was like I was in like the fucking upside down. I'm like, Murph, Murph, make him stay, Murph. And all of a sudden it was like, and I was back in bed, and I was like, oh, that was a weird dream. Like it it was just a perfect platform for just like improv.
And what you can do now, especially when you're like in those like states, you can set a I think it's called a beacon, and you can put a price and you can say, I'll pay somebody 10,000 credits to come get me. And then you're notified when somebody accepts it. So you can just like lay there and wait, and then somebody can come and you can get on the voice and you're like, oh God, thank you. Oh, I've been waiting so long. And they're like, hear you, and they're like, heal you. And then if they heal you, they get the money. So like, it's just
like it's fucking medical Uber.
Yeah, but you can
galactic Uber.
But from a content creation perspective, you're drawing those VoIP interactions to yourself. You're on a desolate planet, and if you make the price high enough, somebody will get it. And then when they get there, you get content because you get to just like meme with them and have fun. And it's like, it's just, dude, it's so funny, man.
Dude, and this is what like I've heard a bunch of people all talk about. I haven't heard anything really about the cycle. In a while. I mean,
the beta ended, really, and so it's just kind of.
But a few people have basically said how awesome VoIP was in that game, and I just remember thinking about the 2 days I played Star Citizen, all these people saying how great VoIP was in the cycle, and then like the week I played DayZ, like literally the second day I roll up on a guy, super nice to me, he holds me up, takes all my shit, and then like fast forward 20 minutes. And we've killed a guy, we've skinned him, and his skull is we've turned into a mask, and now we're like a skull cult, like, whatever, and then we like part ways a few hours later, and it's like that was some like once in a lifetime shit, but like all the once in a lifetime shit is every 5 hours.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. And that dude, I was playing with Finest the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, I've been playing a ton of Cycle." I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty good," and he said the same thing. He was like, "Man." He was like, I really enjoyed the VoIP in that game. You know what I mean? And I was like, wait. You didn't just hear the N-word and racial slurs? How many times, Finest, did you hear somebody playing music over a boombox? Like, that's my favorite thing, bro. VoIP, but what about you guys, man? People are going to play DMCA music to get you banned from Twitch. And I'm like, you're thinking way too hard about this. Like, dude. And we just memed on it.
They're not thinking hard enough.
Yeah, I guess.
They heard somebody say it, and they were like, that sounds reasonable. I'm going to be concerned about this thing, without realizing that they don't fucking actually care. Everybody wants to be it's Karen about one thing.
It's crazy. And so we just memed on it for a while. I was like, wait, so you didn't hear any racial slurs? No. Oh, wait, you didn't hear music from a boombox? No. Wait, you didn't hear just toxicity? You didn't hear people screaming at the top of their lungs? And it was just like, no. And guess what? It's the closest video game that we have to Tarkov was the cycle. Extraction-based, raid-based, you lose all your loot, you need money, there's traders. I mean, the list is huge. It's very different than Tarkov, but it's the closest thing we have. And everybody forever has been like, yeah, but that's DayZ. That's different than Tarkov. Tarkov's going to be more like Rust and so toxic. And I was like, dude, the cycle was a first-person shooter, extraction-based, very much like Tarkov. The VoIP was amazing. Now, I still very firmly hold the belief that the first few weeks of Tarkov and VoIP will be toxic because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and because people will make it toxic because they desire it to be toxic, because if it's toxic, they're right. They get to be right about it was going to be toxic the whole time. So I think the first few weeks are going to be rough.
I don't even think that.
But like, I just was like, dude, somebody the other day was like, they were like, I'm worried about VoIP because people are going to be able to just like yell and scream through their microphones, and it'll mask the movement of their players, and it'll be harder to hear them. And I was like, you don't think it'll be easier to hear them because they're screaming into their microphone? I was like,
that person, that they weren't.
Dude,
no.
I was like, what? I don't know what that means. Like,
that is, I mean, that's right there is Poe's Law incarnate. They're not. Was their Twitch name like the Living Breathing Meme? Oh, wait, I have that account. That's my account.
I don't know. It was just so funny because I guess I get what they were saying, but like, I don't know, man. It was so funny.
No, I mean, I get I know what all of those individual words mean.
Yeah.
Individually, but when you put them together, it's the dumbest thing a human being has ever said out loud. Although joke's gonna be on us when they implement VoIP,
dude,
and the VoIP, like the speaker is like 14 feet to the front and to the left of your character model, so you actually like it's
could
like you're
that
throwing your voice
ventriloquism
over there.
in Tarkov.
Like,
hey, I'm in marked room, and then you push from the other side of the building.
I think there's actually like it came out after I stopped playing in Valorant. Like one of the dude's abilities in that game is to like, you like press a button and what it does is it like spawns footsteps that go out this way and out this way. So you're like, oh, it's like rather than a mirage, it's an auditory mirage.
That's wild.
Which would really fuck me up because I'm just a sound whore.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I hear shit and aim at it. Stuff I hear faster than stuff I see. But yeah, that joke's gonna be on us when, for some reason, that stupid comment somehow comes to fruition.
Yeah,
they fuck up something super bad.
Or like, you remember how briefly the grenades had no directional audio? If you heard a nade, it like the sound blew up just above your head. It was just like boom, and you're like, where was that nade?
I don't think I remember that.
And that could have been a bug that only affected some players. It definitely affected me. Every nade within a certain distance just blew up. The sound was just above my head. It just blew up, and I was like, where was that? Like that'll be how they do VoIP. There's no directional, no occlusion, and it'll just be like yelling, and then it'll actually be able to do that. Please God, no. But I just going all the way back, it was just funny that you brought up the cycle specifically about VoIP, and we were just talking about that, where it's like I haven't heard a single person complain about the VoIP and cycle, and so many, not just Tarkov streamers, a lot of Tarkov streamers, but a lot of other streamers, we're playing Tarkov, we're playing the cycle, we're loving the cycle, and so many of the people I watched had VoIP on, and I never heard it, and I never heard anybody complain about anything in with the VoIP and the cycle, and it is the closest kind of comparison we have to Tarkov. So I don't know.
I look forward to. I'm saying this out loud into the universe, hoping that you know it's like The Secret. If I say it, it'll become true. I just can't wait for all of the people that have been driving me fucking insane for the last 3 years, saying X is going to be Y. And I've been saying, no, it's not. And here's why for so long.
Yeah.
I can't wait for them to come and be like, I was wrong. And when I say I can't wait, I mean like literally I couldn't possibly wait that long.
Yeah, no, I was like
waiting until the fucking heat death of the universe. But
for a second, I was like, Veritas, you know that's not going to happen, right? I was like, please don't be waiting for that.
I'm holding my breath. You're turning violet. Violet?
Yeah, no. There'll be a new thing, you know what I mean? Like there'll be a new thing that will kill the game, or like unnecessary blame will get put on it. You know what I mean? Somebody will die to a cheater or somebody will die to like an audio bug, and they'll be like, "Man, the flea market ruined the game." You know what I mean? It's just like these things stick, and we just dump everything on the flea market ruined the game, man. There will 100% be that. Where like, you know what I mean? They'll make Kappa level 97, and they'll be like, Jesus Christ, VoIP ruined the freaking game, and it'll just be like, there will be no recovering from it. But I am personally very excited. Very excited. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot going on. I don't really have anything else. Is there anything on the video game or music or technology department?
I came out with a bunch of new songs over the last week or two. If you guys like Carl Sagan, I made a banger that has some samples from A Pale Blue Dot, which is a fantastic book. I still, at this point, I'm gonna need to get a little bored with Magic, I think, before I'll hop into the sim racing stuff a little bit more. But now that it's cooler, it'll be much nicer to jump into. I'm just trying to figure out what games I want to get into. I actually see like Summit and a whole bunch of other folks have been playing like iRacing.
Yep,
and
I've been
other
watching.
Stuff, so I still have to mess around with that.
Yeah.
I mean, not really a whole lot. There was a I saw the trailer for, actually not the trailer, but it was like kind of a dev blog for Kerbal Space Program 2.
Oh,
that looks really fucking dope. They were just talking about like all the environments and all the like, you know, the planets and the details that they have. And
you made me watch the trailer for that, and they used that M83 song, and that trailer was like, it gave me goosebumps. I never even heard of Kerbal Space Program before you were like, go check out the first one, but watch the trailer for the second one. And I like literally got goosebumps watching the trailer.
Yeah, I'm stoked because that's a game where like you got to know your physics. You got to know like you do orbital maneuvers, and like you have to build a ship, and like to drastically simplify how it works. You build a ship, you can attach a buttload of rockets onto it, but that's more weight. You can add a bunch of fuel, but that's more weight, and it all just comes down to how much weight versus thrust versus fuel do you have. And it really gives you an idea, like a perspective for just how significant gravity is. Like you will use 90% of your fucking fuel just to get out into like the bare minimum of space, and then now it's like, whoa, fuck, like you just it's like throwing a baseball into the air, and you realize like how many changes and iterations you need just to be able to get out to where then you can change your trajectory a little bit and then burn in a certain direction, and then you'll see, because you can like zoom out and see like your kind of orbital. And the first few times you'll always see just a little tiny fucking like the arch of McDonald's that like you know is barely up into the outer atmosphere, and it's like, how the fuck do I get out into space? And the first time you get out into space, you're like, oh shit, and then you just get pulled back in. And then you realize like the first time you're able to build it and learn a bunch of stuff to where you start you turn in a particular direction and you start burning your rockets after you like detach multiple stages, and because you can't have that weight anymore, and then you burn, and then you see that line, that little arch, turn into a semicircle, turn into an ellipse going around the, and then you have a little circular orbit. Now you're in an actual orbit, and now it's like you see the moon over there, and if you just point towards the moon and just turn on your rockets, what'll end up happening is you'll slingshot around the planet that way into infinity, you know. So you actually have to like plan shit.
It is crazy.
It took me months of watching tutorials and learning about orbital mechanics and stuff before I was able to go and to do, because you can actually like fly out with your initial boosters, detach the boosters once you get like right into the upper atmosphere, because then you actually don't need a whole lot of thrust once you get out, you know, into space, like, into space between, you know. But like to go towards like the moon, which they call moon, like MUN, mun. I don't know how they pronounce it, but you build all of the individual pieces, you put it together, you choose the kind of rockets you have and everything, and then you can then get and capture into the orbit of the moon. You want to get into a stable orbit at a right altitude, to then you can detach. If you have a lander, you have to like put the ladders on the lander and the little feet and everything, and it has to be like symmetrical. You can then detach the lander, and just like Apollo fucking 11, go down to the planet, land to the moon, jump around, whatever, and it's the size of a fucking moon. So you could just walk for days. And the new game is apparently going to have like a lot of stuff to do. All the different biomes you can go, and in different places you go, you get like research, and you basically gain science. And science is like your currency. So then if you end up collecting all this science, you have this science on your little guy. But if you don't make it back to the planet, then you don't have the science.
You don't have the science.
So like the first thing you do is you get on a launch pad and you do the science, and it's like, we've done science from the launch pad on the fucking Earth, basically. It's called Kerbin, and it's like, now I can buy advanced sensors, and then
Yep.
like you fly up and the thing fucking explodes, and then it's like, well, I have 2 science to do whatever, and then it gets to the point where like you can land on planning. I'm gonna land in this basin on the southern cap of the moon, which is a different environment. So then you could do all kinds of different, you can have like you can do like barometric pressure and temperature and all these science things that do different kinds of stuff to figure out like what's the universe like here, what's the soil like here, to then have to take off and then rendezvous with the orbiter and then boink, connect and then fucking fly back and not die. Like I said, it took me months before I was able to make it back. I had hundreds of little Kerbin guys just like, well, you're just floating in space forever. Like, you're out of fuel. What happens when you're out of fuel?
Sorry.
And you're in orbit? Sorry, you're just gonna die. Like, there's nothing you can do. It's such an amazing game, and this one looks like it's gonna take it to the next level.
And it just even just watching it, which I ended up watching a bunch of the first game, like, just gives you this appreciation for like what these people do, you know what I mean, and all the math that goes into it. And like, I kind of went down a rabbit hole recently watching a bunch of videos about like what NASA's doing and what SpaceX is doing, and like why we want to go to the moon and what's important about the moon, and why we want to go to the Mars and what's important about Mars, and how much we don't know, and all these different like theoretical, like almost science fiction but very plausible ways that we can, like the concept of like the orbital slingshots and like the space elevators, and like how do we do that? Like if a spacecraft is 11 million pounds and the payload is only 50,000 pounds and the other 10 million pounds is fuel, how do we bypass that? Because then it makes space travel infinitely cheaper and more accessible. So it's just like there's so much.
Dude, and KSP has all of that.
I love it.
It has all of that shit in there where it's like there are planets that are, when you look at like the little galactic, they're not galactic, but the little like solar system map, and you see, like a planet that's on like the inclination of its plane is just a little bit off, and that is like, you need orders of magnitude more. What's called delta V, which is basically the difference in velocity, which is ultimately when you want to figure out your thrust to fuel to weight to all that stuff. You can just boil it down to like one number, delta V, to get to that massive gas giant that's just a little bit off of what your orbit is relative to like the sun. It's like what you need to do is you need to blast off a ship, get it into orbit, and then build another piece of the ship, blast that off and connect it in orbit.
Oh my God.
And then blast off and connect it in orbit, and then blast off with just a giant reservoir of fuel to then connect that. And then now you've got enough to get into orbit around that planet. But because it's so dense and it's so far away that when you land, like, you could literally just thrust and you'll just go, and you're like not gonna get off the planet because it's so dense that so what people will do is they'll build all these pieces, fly it all out, and then now they have like a structure orbiting to where they can build a whole bunch more pieces, fly that out, connect it, and then now you have fuel. It's like,
dude, it's insane.
People take months and months doing these missions, and it's you have to have like fast forward basically, because like if you don't, it's real time and it's to scale. So like if you do the initial like, let's go on a rendezvous with the moon, it's like 4 days, 17 hours, and you'll just float through the darkness while this tiny little dot over the next 4 days becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Or you can hit like, page up, and it's like the best part though is that when you fast forward, the physics gets kind of wonky. So like the ship, if you build it really long and really thin, it'll get like wobbly and it'll spin and break apart and explode. A lot of times when you fast forward, the physics gets a little fucky and it goes like, and shit just like explodes all over the place. So you got to quick save a lot in that game.
Dude, that stuff's cool. That's really funny. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a candidate for a main game for
me.
We'll see.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's just about it. Not a whole lot going on in the Tarkov zone. It's still down. I mean, we're seeing plenty of that in chat, so hopefully they'll get that all squared away in the next few hours or even minutes. But if it's down, I'm assuming you'll resume the gathering of the magic, and I will launch myself into space and
yeah, Tarkov's down. That's why I'm playing Magic right
yeah,
now.
Yeah. That one raid you did really just made you want Tarkov so much.
I had a perfect raid, and I didn't feel like having another one.
And I did. You were like, you know what? That's enough.
It's not gonna get better than that.
Yeah.
And that was. So I'll wait.
Well, thank you guys for hanging. Appreciate you being here. It's weird. It's Friday, but we'll be back. This will be live next week, early next week, and then we'll be back next week. Potentially trying to get some new guests on soon. Hopefully Tarkov is going to kick into high gear pretty soon with 12-12 and all this kind of stuff. I know we got holidays coming up soon, so cool stuff coming. Thanks for hanging with us live, and we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.